smile and his vague invitation inside without visible candy rightfully intensified your concern. It's a scenario that many are warned about but hope never to face. Your decision to prioritize safety over politeness in that moment was not only wise but potentially life-saving. Protecting your siblings by maintaining a physical connection to them and choosing to walk away from a situation that felt increasingly dangerous illustrates a mature adherence to those early lessons about safety. It's a vivid reminder of the importance of trusting one's instincts, especially in contexts that seem designed to disarm caution with the allure of holiday traditions like Halloween. Your quick decision to leave the situation with the man who attempted to coax you and your siblings inside his house on Halloween was smart and exemplified a keen awareness of stranger danger principles. His persistence and seemingly manipulative sadness when you refused were definite red flags, suggesting ulterior motives. Advising your siblings never to enter a stranger's house, especially under such suspicious circumstances, was an important lesson, one that reinforced the crucial guidelines of personal safety. Upon reaching home and sharing the encounter with your mom, it's understandable that the situation left you both unsettled. While it's regrettable that further action wasn't taken, the incident served as a stark reminder of the importance of vigilance during occasions like Halloween, when the blending of fun and fright can sometimes mask real dangers. Transitioning to Lizzie Borden, the infamous figure from Fall River, Massachusetts, remains a subject of fascination and speculation over a century later. Born to Andrew and Sarah Borden in 1860, Lizzie's life took a dramatic and dark turn with the brutal axe murders of her father and stepmother on August 4, 1892. Despite the nursery rhyme's inaccuracies, it encapsulates the public's enduring intrigue and horror at the thought of a daughter committing such heinous acts. Andrew Borden's success in business and his significant wealth, juxtaposed with the family's relatively modest lifestyle and Lizzie's strained relationship with her stepmother, have fueled countless theories about the motives behind the murders. Lizzie's trial, fraught with contradictory evidence and Victorian-era gender biases, ultimately ended in her acquittal, leaving the case officially unsolved. Today, the Borden house serves as a macabre tourist attraction, inviting visitors to step back in time and explore the mystery of what really happened that fateful day in Fall River. Andrew Borden, characterized by his frugality, especially in matters concerning his family's lifestyle, contrasted starkly with his professional success. His second marriage to Abby Durfee Gray introduced further strain, particularly with his daughter Lizzie, who harbored a deep resentment towards her stepmother, referring to her coldly as Mrs. Borden. This tension permeated the household, exacerbated by Andrew's financial decisions, which often favored Abby's relatives over his own daughters, Lizzie and Emma. Such disparities sowed seeds of discord, manifesting invisible rifts within the family. The Borden home, marked by its religious affiliations and the daughter's active participation in church, became a silent witness to escalating family tensions. Lizzie, despite her involvement in various church-related activities, found herself increasingly at odds with her parents, particularly over issues of inheritance and financial equity. An incident that brought the family's simmering tensions to the fore was a bout of food poisoning, attributed to mutton left unrefrigerated. Abby suspected this was not an accident but a deliberate act of aggression towards the family, possibly linked to Andrew's contentious relationships within Fall River. The atmosphere within the Borden household grew even more charged with the arrival of Sarah Borden's brother, John Morse, who engaged in a heated argument with Andrew over business matters. This altercation set the stage for the tragic events that unfolded the following day. On August 4, 1892, the Borden home became the scene of a gruesome double murder. Abby Borden ventured upstairs to tend to the guest room, a task typically shared with Lizzie and Emma. It was during this time that she was confronted and brutally attacked by an assailant. The precise dynamics of the attack, including the identity of the murderer, have since been the subject of intense speculation and intrigue, leaving the Borden case etched in the annals of American crime history as a chilling and unresolved mystery. Abby Borden's murder was marked by a brutal efficiency, a hatchet delivering the lethal blows that ended her life. The violence of her attack was severe, with 17 strikes concentrated to the back of her head, signifying not just an intent to kill but perhaps a deep-seated rage. While Abby lay lifeless upstairs, Andrew Borden returned home, unaware of the horror that had unfolded within his walls. Faced with an uncooperative front door, Andrew's entry was delayed until Bridget, the housekeeper, admitted him. Bridget later recounted hearing Lizzie's laughter from the top of the stairs, though Lizzie was not in sight, adding an eerie layer to the day's events. Upon his return, Andrew sought relaxation in the sitting room, transitioning from his outdoor boots to more comfortable slippers, unknowingly setting the stage for his own demise. The assailant, wielding the same hatchet used to murder Abby, unleashed a similar fury on Andrew, striking him 10 to 11 times. The savagery of the attack left Andrew's head grotesquely disfigured, one of his eyes horrifically cleaved in half, details that have since become the subject of one of the most chilling crime scene photographs in American history. This macabre tableau not only shocked the local community but also captured the nation's attention, sparking widespread speculation and debate about the identity of the murder. Lizzie Borden, found within the home and having provided conflicting accounts of her whereabouts, quickly emerged as the prime suspect. Despite her acquittal in a trial that captivated the public's imagination, the case remains one of the most enduring mysteries in American criminal history, with Lizzie's guilt or innocence still a topic of debate. The Borden home, scene of the grisly murders, now stands as a testament to the unresolved questions that linger, attracting those fascinated by the case and the specter of unresolved justice. At the moment of the murders, Bridget, the family's maid, was occupied upstairs. It was Lizzie's alarmed voice that shattered the day's calm, informing Bridget that her father had been murdered. Drive Bowen, the Borden family's neighbor and physician, was quickly summoned to the scene, where he confirmed the deaths of both Andrew and Abby Borden, estimating Andrew's time of death at around 11 a.m. As the investigation unfolded, Lizzie, Emma, and Bridget found themselves under intense scrutiny from the police. Lizzie's answers to the investigators were notably inconsistent, and at times seemed detached from the gravity of the situation, casting a shadow of suspicion over her. For instance, Lizzie initially reported hearing disturbing noises that might have indicated an intruder, only to later deny hearing anything at all, contradicting her own account of the timeline. Furthermore, while she claimed not to have seen Abby on the day of the murders, evidence suggested otherwise. Bridget and a neighbor testified that Abby's body was visible from a certain vantage point in the house. The police's examination of the crime scene uncovered potential murder weapons in the basement, including a hatchet with a broken handle, a significant piece of evidence that seemed to connect to the brutal nature of the attacks. However, the investigation into the possibility of poisoning, sparked by Lizzie's recent purchase of acid under the guise of preserving furs, yielded no evidence of such substances in the victims' autopsies. A critical misstep in the investigation was the lack of a thorough search of Lizzie's room. Citing her ill health, the police refrained from pressing Lizzie further or conducting a detailed inspection, a decision that would later be scrutinized as a potentially major oversight in the quest to determine her involvement in the murders. Throughout the trial, the amalgamation of forensic evidence, Lizzie's conflicting statements, and her unemotional demeanor presented a complex picture that left more questions than answers. Despite the suspicions and inconsistencies, the absence of conclusive evidence, and the limitations of forensic science at the time left the court with insufficient grounds to convict Lizzie Borden of the murders of her father and stepmother. Thus, the case remains one of the most notorious and enduring mysteries in American criminal history. On the night of August 4th, following the brutal murders in the Borden household, police stationed outside observed Lizzie Borden and Alice Russell, a family friend, heading to the cellar with suspicious items. This action raised eyebrows, especially when considering the timing and context. John Morse, having spent the night, left the next morning only to face hostility from the Fall River community, necessitating police intervention for his safety. As investigations deepened, law enforcement scrutinized the Borden home more closely, including examining articles of clothing and the hatchet found in the basement, suspected to be the murder weapon. The atmosphere in Fall River grew tense with speculation, further intensified when Lizzie was visited by the mayor and police officials, declaring her the prime suspect in the homicides. Alice Russell reported seeing Lizzie destroy a dress she claimed was stained with paint, an act perceived by many as an attempt to eliminate potential evidence. Lizzie's subsequent behavior and actions continued to cast doubt on her innocence. Denied legal representation at her inquest and described as behaving inappropriately, possibly exacerbated by morphine doses she took for her nerves, Lizzie's situation grew increasingly precarious. By August 11th, Lizzie found herself incarcerated, awaiting trial. The evidence and proceedings leading up to this point were fraught with controversy, notably the inquest's ruling as inadmissible. The grand jury's selection in November and Lizzie's indictment in December set the stage for a highly anticipated trial. Lizzie Borden's trial commenced on June 5, 1893, in New Bedford, Massachusetts. It unfolded amid intense public and media scrutiny, laying bare the intricacies and ambiguities of the case. Despite the compelling circumstantial evidence and Lizzie's often contradictory behavior, the lack of direct evidence and the exclusion of her inquest testimony significantly impacted the trial's outcome. Ultimately, Lizzie Borden was acquitted, a verdict that has left the case shrouded in mystery and speculation for over a century. The Borden murders remain a defining moment in American criminal history, embodying the complexities of family dynamics, societal expectations, and the judicial process at the turn of the 20th century. Ironically, just 5 days before Lizzie Borden's trial began, another axe murder occurred in Fall River, stirring public fear and speculation. Bertha Manchester fell victim to this similar act of violence, but Lizzie was not implicated. Instead, José Carreira Dilo, a Portuguese immigrant, was arrested and convicted for Manchester's murder in 1894, distinguishing this case from the Borden murders. During Lizzie's trial, the hatchet found in the Borden residence was scrutinized but ultimately dismissed as the murder weapon by prosecutors, who speculated that the original handle might have been removed to eliminate blood evidence. The contentious issue of Lizzie burning a dress shortly after the murders was addressed but did not sway the defense's position. A dramatic moment in the trial was the presentation of Andrew and Abby's severed heads as forensic evidence, intended to demonstrate the severity of their wounds to the jury. This gruesome display overwhelmed Lizzie, causing her to faint in the courtroom. After extensive deliberations and examination of evidence and witness testimonies, the jury reached a verdict on June 20th, 1893. Lizzie Borden was acquitted after just an hour and a half of deliberation, leaving many to speculate about her involvement in the deaths of her father and stepmother. Despite her acquittal, the cloud of suspicion and rumor never fully dissipated from Lizzie's life in Fall River. Following the trial, Lizzie and her sister Emma chose to distance themselves from the past, relocating to a more affluent area of Fall River. Lizzie lived until June 1st, 1927, when she died of pneumonia at 66. Emma passed away 9 days later. The mystery of who killed Andrew and Abby Borden remains unsolved, fueling endless theories and discussions. Today, the Borden home serves as a bed and breakfast and a haunted attraction, inviting visitors to explore the site of the infamous murders and possibly encounter its reported hauntings. The enduring fascination with Lizzie Borden's story has cemented her place in American folklore, inspiring books, movies, television series, and podcasts that continue to speculate on her guilt or innocence. The question of whether Lizzie Borden was a wrongfully accused daughter or a cold-blooded murderer remains a topic of debate, leaving it to individuals to draw their own conclusions about one of the most enduring mysteries in American criminal history. Watching scary movies late into the night became an unexpected prelude to a real-life unsettling incident for you and your sister. With your mom off to her night shift and your dad freshly returned indoors, the sense of security within your home felt intact. However, the tension from the movie Child's Play, compounded by your fear of dolls, soon took a backseat to a more immediate concern. The alertness of your dog, fixed on one of the doors leading to the enclosed front porch, was the first sign of something amiss. Spotting a silhouette through the curtains of the double doors, which should have been secure, suggested an intrusion that went unnoticed amidst the night's distractions. The front porch, typically a transitional space, filled with the familiarity of daily activities, suddenly became a stage for an alarming scenario. Your father's reaction was swift, despite the physical limitations he endured from past surgeries. His background as a former Marine lent him a presence that was both protective and imposing, even if his mobility had been compromised. This quick shift from a relaxed family evening to a moment of potential confrontation underscores the unpredictable nature of safety within one's own home, especially in a neighborhood known for its challenges. The silent, unexpected appearance of a figure on your porch, coupled with the familial instinct to protect and investigate, transformed an ordinary night into a stark reminder of vulnerability. This incident, interwoven with the ambience of a horror movie marathon, highlights the thin veil between fiction and reality, where real-world fears can manifest at the least expected moments. Your father, despite his physical limitations, confronted the intruder with a level of courage and authority that was enough to manage the situation. The man, under the influence and confused, seemed to be in a vulnerable state, repeatedly pleading for work and money. It's a distressing scenario, reflecting the broader societal issues of substance abuse and desperation that can lead individuals to make dangerous choices. Your dad's decision not to involve the police, instead handling the matter personally, reveals his protective instinct towards his family and his judgment in that moment, prioritizing the immediate safety and normalcy for his household over potential legal consequences for the intruder. The incident left an indelible mark on your young mind, teaching you about the complexities and unpredictabilities of adult life. It also highlighted your father's role as a protector, capable of handling daunting situations with a calm and decisive demeanor. Transitioning to the topic of Silent Hill in Centralia, Pennsylvania, it's a fascinating blend of fiction and reality. The Silent Hill franchise is renowned for its eerie atmosphere and psychological horror, drawing players into its mysterious and often disturbing world. Centralia, on the other hand, is a real-life ghost town, whose history is marred by a devastating coal mine fire that began in 1962 and continues to burn beneath the ground to this day. The fire led to the near-total evacuation of the town, leaving behind a desolate and hazardous environment, eerily reminiscent of the foggy, ash-covered streets of Silent Hill. While the creators of Silent Hill have not officially confirmed Centralia as an inspiration for the game, the parallels between the town's tragic fate and the game's haunting landscapes are undeniable. Centralia's story is a poignant reminder of the long-term environmental and human impact of industrial accidents, serving as a real-world backdrop that could inspire the unsettling universe of Silent Hill. The connection between Centralia and Silent Hill, whether direct or coincidental, underscores the power of real-life events to inspire creative expression, blending the lines between reality and the fantastical worlds of video games and films. Centralia, Pennsylvania, often mentioned in the same breath as the Silent Hill video game and film franchise, indeed shares little beyond the eerie, fog-like ambience created by its ever-burning mine fire. This environmental catastrophe has rendered Centralia a near ghost town, a stark contrast to its once vibrant mining community. In its heyday, Centralia thrived with 14 active coal mines and a bustling population that peaked at around 2,500 residents, drawn by the promise of prosperity from the rich anthracite coal buried beneath its surface. Anthracite, a high-grade coal known for its hard, black appearance and high carbon content, fueled not only the town's economy but also its growth and development. This coal, referred to by many names like black coal, blind coal, and black diamond, was the cornerstone of Centralia's identity, supporting families and fostering a thriving community. The transformation from Bull's Head to Centralia is a tale of ambition and progress. Alexander Ray, a mining engineer and the town's patriarch, envisioned a prosperous future for the area. Under his guidance, Centralia blossomed, transitioning from a modest village to a promising town, embodying the American dream of growth and opportunity. However, the shadow of tragedy loomed large over Centralia. Among the series of misfortunes was the shocking murder of Alexander Ray, a pivotal figure in the town's history. This event, among others, marked the beginning of Centralia's long and complex struggle with calamity. The mine fire that began in 1962 was perhaps the most devastating blow to Centralia, turning its rich mines into an inferno that still burns. This disaster led to a gradual exodus, leaving the town a shell of its former self. Despite the state's intervention and the persistent dangers posed by the fire, a few residents remain, tethered to their homes by history and sentiment. Centralia's story is a poignant reminder of the transient nature of human endeavors against the backdrop of environmental and industrial risks. The town's journey from prosperity to near oblivion is a cautionary tale, highlighting the delicate balance between exploiting natural resources and safeguarding the communities that depend on them. The Molly Maguires, a secret society known for their involvement in labor movements and acts of violence within the coal mining communities of Pennsylvania, cast a long shadow over Centralia's history. The murder of Alexander Ray by members of this group in 1868 marked one of the most turbulent chapters in the town's past, culminating in the execution of 3 men connected to the murder, alongside numerous other members of the Molly Maguires across the state. Adding to Centralia's lore is the tale